Welcome back, everybody, from me, Tim Cable, to the Rock and Blues Experience. And coming up now, the feature we recorded a few days ago with all of the guys from Hawkwind who were in situ down on the farm in the deep southwest. It was a few days ago, and we were looking ahead to the release of the new album. There is no space for us. The guys taking a break from their tour rehearsals look forward to the album release, which is actually this Friday. And we look back at some of the classic gigs from years gone by. And we even discuss the band's future, including what are their views about the potential use of holograms in years to come. And in a world first, and it is a world first, believe you me, there is even time for an a cappella version of It's Not Unusual. So expect the rather unexpected in this tale of the unexpected over the next half an hour or so. Since 1970, right, there has been a total, right, of 9 years in which you haven't released something. There was 1 year in the 70s, 3 in the 80s, and 6 in the millennium. And in that time, 37 studio albums. I mean, it's quite astonishing. We should have perhaps maybe a national holiday to celebrate all of your content and output.
What do you think, Dave? Is that a good idea?
What, for a national holiday? Yes, more national holidays.
But it is quite incredible that over this 55-year period, you have literally released something almost every year. I mean, it's an astonishing work rate to keep up.
A lot of fun, that's why.
Well, if you can do it, then, why not? This is it.
So we're celebrating the release of the new album this month. There is no space for us. Now, you said last year when we spoke that you'd actually finished recording this already. So it's been in the can for almost a year. So I'm assuming before we get to the end of the celebrations here, you've already recorded the next one.
No, we haven't actually. We quite often record things and then tinker with them, and add bits and pieces, don't we?
Yeah, I think last time we spoke to you, well, it was probably a year ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
We thought we would had it finished, but it was a very different thing to what what came out in the end, And so it's but yeah, Dave had all the ideas behind it really already like a year ago, but we're still actually, the thing is getting it over that point where you can get 90% of it done, but actually getting it finished is really the hardest part in my opinion. But we got it over the line anyway.
Yeah, we did. Even so, we can still listen to it and think, if only we could have just done this and that.
With the cowbell solo, we needed that.
Oh, yeah.
Cowbell.
The drum solo, that was it.
Yeah.
Where's the drum solo in Changes, is it, that what we wanted Rich to do?
Yeah. I think it was the year before after I deleted the cowbell solo you did, didn't it? I think that rankled quite a bit.
No,
so.
I found that deeply painful.
But you've got the wood blocks as a standby there.
My one creative outlet is the cowbell. I mean, it's a new release for me. I've never had one before, but Dave gave me this cowbell, and ever since then I've been trying to torture him.
In fact,
this is Richard talking
we've
about.
all considered taking it away actually, because
I think at least a bit of gaffer on it would help.
Muted.
So, yeah.
What stands out here, guys, right, is the level of consistency here. Now, I don't want to go on about age and time and everything else, but for many, right, who sort of reach maybe the autumn years of their career, the standards start to slip and they drop, and they're happy to get things out, and it's nowhere near as good as it used to be. But it's not so here. You could say literally that the last 8 albums, because you've been pumping them out almost one a year, each one has been getting better than the last. So what's the secret then for you?
What's the secret? Silver threads turning to gold. That's what it is.
It's a secret. I mean, we're not going to let you know. We're just a fountain of creativity.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we put our heads together, out comes music.
Yeah.
It's almost like the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
It's great to hear that, but again, I think you sort of you're underplaying it a bit here. Not maybe giving it perhaps the praise that it's actually due, because with the amount of product that you're putting out, to maintain standards is, in whatever walk of life that is not easy. So you guys between you must have this, whatever it is you've come up with, it works.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's nothing else for us to do, really.
Yeah.
I mean, we are musicians and we're supposed to be artists. And with all good artists, they have to always be constantly doing things, else you become lazy and
Stagnation.
stagnate and nothing happens.
The quagmire.
I think-
Non-creativity.
I think if you think like Dave will do like a few hours a day, like every day, like not because it's a chore, because that's like enjoyable to him, And so it's him to have a few songs together. It doesn't take that long, and then I only have to write a couple of songs, and then we have a couple of jams, and we've got another album. It doesn't take very long.
You make it sound so easy.
Quite easily walk into the studio as we finish talking to you and actually record a whole album.
But to be serious, I do think they are a good quality, and I don't think. I mean, we do have deadlines, and I think a lot of musicians don't have deadlines, and they just fiddle around for years and years, and it doesn't get better, And I think and a lot of your favourite musicians probably, when they were doing their best stuff, they were they had to get the stuff out,
It's actually, you've got to remember, it's the deadline's the bread line.
I was going to mention the money.
But we've all got to live. We've got bills to pay. It doesn't get easy, does it?
Well, no, it certainly doesn't. The last 24 hours have just been a case in point there.
More prime example of what's going on in this country. Yeah.
Do you ever get into this situation where you're in a studio, you've recorded something, you sit back and you think, God, yeah, that sounds great. And then you actually realise that, actually, I've done something very similar 2 albums ago, so I can't do that, so that has to go.
Well, we can always give it another name,
Well,
Why not?
I never thought of that. Or put an explosion at the end of it. That'll change.
I'm sorry.
It's the same effect as an explosion.
So what has also got to be really satisfying for you guys is that the reviews continue to be great and the albums continue to make the charts, and the coverage is greater. You appear in, it's been in the Telegraph, see you in the Times, the review. There are now so many different places that take content. Yeah, I've seen you in the Times in the last few years.
Guardian, I noticed.
Actually, Richard, weren't you in the Chap magazine?
No, I wasn't, Dave, but they did approach you. I think they sent you a couple of trial copies to give you a general feel of the kind of sort of
Gardening
presentation.
World, wasn't it?
Gardener's World.
Gardener's
No, you
World,
made
yeah.
a mistake.
No,
Gardener's question
definitely.
time.
I saw the letter in the Chap.
I know a lot of people say that the reviews are, we don't pay any attention to that, but it does give you a bit of a warm feeling, doesn't it, to know that people are appreciating what you're doing?
I hope so, yeah.
Our heads wobble.
Well,
our shoulders.
This is what we're trying to do in the first place. Isn't we? We are trying to. We're enjoying what we're doing because of the music, And we're also trying to come up with new ideas. Ideas about songs, and one obviously change the world, and then it's off into the universe to change the universe, and we're constantly trying to think of storylines that will make people interested and think, well, yeah, and with the music, it's sort of a combination of both. And if you can create all of that, and like it's
atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah,
Constantly trying to create atmospheres.
we know what our fans like anyway. I would think after all these years.
What do they think of this new stuff we're going to be playing? Eh?
They probably say it's wonderful.
Put some cowbell
certainly
in, it'll
hope
be
so.
fine. Yeah, I mean, they might call for drum solo.
Yeah, so drum
No,
solo.
there won't be a
Cowbell,
drum
it'll be
solo.
fine. And then Mathis playing a fantastic guitar solo, and then another drum solo. Be all sorted. Nobody go home sated.
So the album then.
Yeah.
So here we are with more dystopia, preparing for this world without humans. I mean, it's hard to argue against this sort of dystopic view, considering the actual world that we're in. But it's funny because the music perhaps doesn't match the sentiment, if you see what I mean. Yeah, the music feels upbeat, but there's a dark message in there.
Yeah, well, if we actually played dark messages in the music, it'd be very depressing, I think. Doom-laden, with drones,
The sort of band we
repetitious drones, and they're thinking, oh, God, no one's going to buy this, it's too doom-laden.
He lures you in. You think, cool, salsa or something. This is really groovy.
Yeah,
And
this
you
is,
realise that's how you get the message across.
A nice Latin American feel to this. We could dance the tango around our room with a rose clenched in our teeth with our, sorry.
That's what the crew are going to do on tour.
During the end of days.
And then we're at the end of time where everything falls apart.
Not the rose, though,
Driving tracks now.
Do you have a utopian album, perhaps, maybe, in you? I mean, we have the dystopic. Would there be a utopian album, perhaps?
Well, we were talking about this, weren't we? I sent you a load of lyrics, Dave, and then you were like, "Oh, that's all a bit like doom-laden." What do you want? Well, I thought, yeah, we could do an album called like "Everything's Actually Going to Be All Right," and
People might believe us.
I mean, there are ecological ways of changing the way, if humans did change the way they behaved, things would get better, and there are ways of doing it.
We would have a different attitude towards life. But we've already got another album, compilation album, finished, which is coming out in September, October, I think. Isn't it?
Yes, that's right, yeah.
And that's got lots of interesting tracks that we were working on, stories about magic and mystery, nature and such, about finding fairies at the bottom of the garden being one of the tracks. And
Very true.
Yeah, and we've already got the album sleeve for that and everything done, haven't we, really?
Yeah.
So
Wow. So is this a compilation of things that didn't make it onto the recent albums?
Yeah, and a few ones that we've done in the past that have just been sitting around, and you think, well, it's not too bad actually. I mean, Magnus plays a really good jazzy keyboard that nobody knew about, and off he goes. There we are, and it's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a few different versions of old songs and new stuff, and we've been trying to get 2 albums out a year.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? There's plenty of what we want and expect on this new album. The first 2 tracks are really, they're classic Hawkwind, aren't they? The sound and the feel are almost ageless, and that's the beauty about the band and the music, isn't it? I mean, listening to it, if you played it to people, you couldn't put a date on how long the band have been around or the age of the people that are doing it. It's just ageless, but it's classic Hawkwind, those 2 opening tracks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to think which. been very busy for a while, haven't we?
It's all quite really ambient at the beginning, isn't it?
Did you actually forget the title of those two tracks?
To be honest, yeah.
Which two tracks?
The first two tracks of the album. First track, which I can't think of because I was actually, funny enough, we were rehearsing for the tour, and it starts off with the first track. It's like a poem, in actual fact. But then I just forgotten what it was.
Yeah, they've all
Funny
they've got working titles, and
Yeah.
then when you come to make the album, you actually give them a totally different title to the one that we call them.
And what
if you
was
know
the
what I
second
mean.
track?
So
Was it a co-pilot?
that's Space Continues.
No. It's so the
Space Continues Lifeform. That's right. Yeah,
the first two tracks are There Is Still Danger There,
Oh, that's
and
right.
then Space Continues.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad you put us right there. It just shows you where we're at.
We're really busy at the moment.
Planes are elsewhere, you know.
No, we're trying to work out how to play this album live at the moment. So we have been thinking about it, and it's, and using all that opening bit actually. But
It's a really good track to open with. There is still danger there, followed by Space Continues. It sets the rest of the album up perfectly because when you get to co-pilot with its acoustic intro before it winds its way through this stratosphere of sound with all the twists and the turns, I should imagine that track in particular is going to become a live favourite.
I think so. I think it should be a hit record. It should be a hit record and sell millions.
we have been working on it, haven't we? It could well be in this live set.
Yeah.
It's rain.
Drum solo.
No.
So the surprise track for me, you're listening away on your own, or you've got your headphones on, and then you come to the title track. There is no space for us, and it's basically a blues tune. It's the blues.
Is it? It's a bit sort of 70s country blues, isn't it? From the late 60s.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, Dave had the original track, and I just used like a dadgad or one of those folky tunings, and just did that sort of 60s country blues.
Yeah, and there all of a sudden we're into that sort of country blues that we like so much.
It's a great track, actually. I mean, you're talking about singles. I mean, I know you're joking, but at 3 minutes 40, it's probably one, not like the only one, that could be. But no, it's a really good track, that.
But you know what happens at the end of it? There's a huge explosion where everything dies.
Neutron Star. So you've had the outer region of the universe, and then we come to the final two tracks. It's an 8-track album. You got Neutron Star. This was like it's not space rock. This felt like space punk, right?
Yeah.
It's not prog. This was just in your face, and if you like, it was full of alien attitude. You can imagine if they are listening out there and they put this on, then they're going to be kicking up a storm on Mars.
Quite right.
I hope so.
It does sound really punk rock, doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we've been doing music like this for years anyway. It's only just one of those things that...
well, you invented punk rock, didn't you, Dave?
Yeah.
Not really.
No, he didn't.
No.
Yeah, he did. Oh, yes, he
No,
did.
he didn't.
Well, it's just the way you play certain chords, and that's it. It's quite easy, really.
And then it brings you to the close, A Long Way From Home, which concludes the interstellar voyage with this extremely calming and relaxing feel, which it's soothing. It's actually quite welcome after the exertions of the other 7 tracks. Was it? Did you think?
Thank goodness it's over. Now I can relax.
Slightly differently.
Sit down, get some lemon curd sandwiches and a cup of tea.
Go to bed.
Take it easy, yeah.
But when you sit down and you listen to that track, after everything else, the punk, we had the rock, the blues, and the everything else, it's it's the perfect choice of the perfect track for the perfect place on the album.
There you go.
Well, there we are. That
like
sounds
it.
very nice. I'm glad to hear that. That actually it does make one satisfied when you do try and fathom out all these one track after if they can merge together and lead the listener on. That's what you want. And so, you come to the last track and it's. I think, gosh, I just have a little puff of my marijuana here. And the last track's like, oh gosh, it's gone into.
Recorded for a podcast.
Oh, is it? Oh, wow.
Oh dear.
Moving swiftly on.
What do you expect?
Your thing.
So overall, then, when you sit back and you play the product back for the first time, you play the album, the CD back, and you're all in there. How did you feel? What was your reaction? You know it's good. You know what you've done. But when you get to sit and take it all in, how did you feel?
Well, I don't know if you ever really get that moment, do you? Because then you send it to be mastered, and then it's like
Yeah, but if you listen to it again after you haven't heard it for quite a few weeks,
That's it, yes.
and then you listen to it, and I found it quite pleasant to listen to. Actually, I thought, well, that's not bad. And you forget that you actually have recorded it, you've participated in it, and you have to sort of listen to it on the outside rather than the inside. Yeah. And I did find it okay, actually, not being egotistic, but I found, well, that's not a bad old album, that.
Yeah.
So, onto the live shows then. 56 years of them since the All Saints Hall in Notting Hill, where you had the one strobe light. We've mentioned tech and recording before, but does this technology now make and assist your performances in becoming easier on stage or more difficult because there's so much of it?
Well, a lot of the stuff we do is quite old school, isn't it?
Yeah, we actually do quite a lot
Big
of our stuff
backline.
live.
in terms of the music, we use a
Well,
really
we play
old-fashioned
everything,
backline, and we don't use any backing tracks, and it's all pretty much played like
Exactly how it is.
pretty old school actually in terms of the music. It's just and it's just all the lights and projections and everything which are.
Taking people on their journey through an experience, isn't it?
And when you look back at these 6 decades of touring, and 5 decades with some of you, but all of the live gigs, the festivals, do you still get a thrill from getting on stage, the whole thing, show day, arriving, sound checks, meeting a few fans and then getting on and performing? Does it still give you that real buzz, that thrill?
Hold me back!
Yes. I think Richard said it.
Yes.
Of course, it's jolly exciting. We love it. Yeah, we've all got alarm clocks that have the sound of crowds cheering. Hawkwind, Hawkwind!
Breakfast first. though.
We love it. It's
Breakfast,
great.
yeah.
Playing live, especially at festivals, we love it.
Yep.
You often get quite a nice sound because you're playing outdoors because there's no rebounding and echoes within an auditorium. So you get quite a clear sound, so we often have quite a lot of fun playing in open air conditions. Except that time when we played at the punk rock festival. Where was it?
that one up north.
Liverpool, was it?
Blackpool. Is it Blackpool?
Oh, Blackpool, the bass bins were
Yeah,
on
don't,
the
right.
stage
don't
and
put, don't
you
put your
couldn't hear a thing.
sub bins under the stage. That's good advice.
Yeah, never do that.
Hey, did you guys ever put anything outrageous onto your tour riders?
I'd love to.
Our tour manager won't allow that.
It's all
Those days are gone,
It's quite sensible.
Those days, Dave, tell me about those.
No,
When you look back at those, your history, and touring the States in those early days, does it give you some of the best memories? I mean, certainly it never seemed dull. I mean, I remember the 1999 party that you did in 1974, a benefit gig up at the University of California at Berkeley. And it was that guy, Timothy Leary, who was in prison. Yeah. And he was planning an escape, which involved Hawkwind performing, being suspended from a helicopter above the prison to cause a diversion. You just don't get that today, do you?
Well, I think it sounds like a bit of a fantasy story there. His wife, Joanna, was actually... he was phoning from the prison on the prison phone so that he could give a speech. So we're halfway through the show and we stopped. And Joanna come on and said, "Look, everybody, I've got a direct line to Timothy in his prison." Everybody all shouted and cheered with delight. So he started, going, "I want you to turn on, tune in, and drop out." Okay, everybody, and he was going for a big explanation. All of a sudden, it was cut off. And what happened was the police actually raided our dressing room as well and bundled us all and Joanna and said, "Look, because it was in Berkeley University at the time, this doesn't happen here." And I think later on we were arrested. I think we were in Hammond in Indiana.
Tax bill.
Tax bill, yeah. They thought we'd get them one way or the other. And the next I don't know if it's a tour later, but we had all our gear impounded and we all got arrested for a tax evasion. There's a coincidence, isn't it?
So a lot of these people that were coming to see you then still around coming to the shows, but the audiences now have a very mixed demographic. Again, when you look out and you see who's coming to the shows, there's a lot of younger people. There's families coming. It's a completely different setup to just blokes in denim and leather coming in the 70s.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it should be, a safe environment for people to enjoy themselves. That's what basically we want. I mean, you think years and years ago when we used to play underneath the flyover in Notting Hill Gate, just down the road from there was some friends of ours who had a music shop, and they used to have huge, great speakers out there playing reggae music. And I always remember that you used to get a huge amount of people, all ages, from little kids, about 3 or 4, dancing around to their granddads. Everybody was dancing. And you think, well, that's what music's about, isn't it?
It's for everybody.
It's for everybody to participate. And you can't think, "Oh dear, I'm too old to do this," or "too young to do this."
But the great thing is the fact that you guys... Yeah, everybody's talking about, the Stones, Deep Purple, stuff. I mean, all these guys, these bands, still going strong, still putting out decent music, really good music, and putting it on a great show. I mean, the music keeps you young.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's it. Music is the one thing that breaks down all barriers, really.
Yeah.
Whether it be classical music or just listening to someone, jazz, someone just to playing harp in outside. You think, God, what a wonderful sound that harpist has got. Just the harp by itself, ringing, simplicity and everything. That's it.
So how do you make the setup? 37 studio albums. It isn't going to be easy, but you've said before, you don't want to go out and just play the old numbers. So how do you go about it? I mean, do you ever think about doing the, what is quite popular now, playing the entire album start to finish and a couple of the older tracks, or is it just going to be a blend of all of the more recent stuff?
Well, we do, basically, we try and mix it all up. Obviously, you've got old favourites that the fans like. I mean, they like singing "Spirit of the Age," don't they?
They do.
So we and you know, there's like the golden oldie numbers, but obviously we you know, we want to play the new stuff because it's good fun, isn't it?
Yep.
I mean, like Changes, which were as soon as we finished talking to you, we're off in there to play Changes makers, aren't we? And I mean, we're practicing the vocals on it to get a good harmony. And don't you start that. Yeah, you can sing very well. Richard can sing really well, and he always tries to pretend he can't.
It's like funny.
Have you ever thought about doing a show where Silver Machine and Hurry on Sundown didn't come into the set? Could you get away with that?
So if you're doing a festival, maybe, and you know that it's the crowd that maybe have only heard those numbers, then we might, make sure that they're in the set. But normally we're playing to people who know our albums and they like the album tracks. They're not, it's not like the bands are kind of a singles band anyway,
The festival sets when they're not your audience.
Yeah, we did. We had
more
Three Dark Monkeys. What's her name?
Athena.
Playing violin with us when we did Hurry on Sundown. That was really good fun because to have a really good violinist playing with us. That was an enjoyable moment. If you do things like that, it makes it interesting.
And so the future then, we've got the album, we've got the tour, you've got another album coming up. Is this just, a continuation of what life is going to be for the next, for as long as you want to do it? So it's album tour.
Who knows? Can this be the end? We ask ourselves.
We could always put the kettle on.
And there's a very pertinent question here. In the future, could you envisage the band carrying on into the next generation where you thought, look, it'd be good to make sure that our music just doesn't stop now. What we'll do is we will train a younger generation to come in here and play.
Can you imagine?
S Club Juniors.
With mind control, isn't it?
Well, actually, there's Sons of Man, and I mean, there's quite a few bands where the Sons
Son of Cream.
Bands and so on. I suppose.
No, I think that's something else.
No, that's going to be my band.
Okay, right.
Daughters of Satan.
What about?
He hasn't mentioned it.
I'm sure she'll leave it with a plum.
What about the potential use of holograms
Well,
That's
why
when
not?
we were young.
in the future? Obviously, we're not talking about next week.
As long as the holograms portray us as younger versions of what we don't look like now.
Doddering old holograms.
There's that doddering old bloke. Pass the chair, please.
Bloody knees. No, nobody wants to see that.
Actually, we could end on a quote from one of your favourite authors, I suppose, because it fits quite perfectly. The only possible way to discover the limits of what's possible is to go beyond to the impossible.
He's not wrong.
Yep, that's about right.
And that's Arthur C. Clarke, one of your favourites.
You could say the impossible is only the unforeseeable.
Yes, and the unforeseeable. Yeah, very true.
Unforeseeable is not impossible.
Exactly.
Right. Let me.
You manage the impossible every day.
It's not unusual to me. Oh, sorry.
Christmas song, isn't it?
Yes, sorry,
Richard.
Richard should have sung it.
Oh, you want a rendition of
Yes, go on.
unusual? Unaccompanied?
Yes.
Give me a key.
It's
not unusual to be loved by anyone. It's not unusual to be mad with anyone. But when I see you hanging around with anyone, it's not unusual to see me cry. I wanna die.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Do you know what? Actually sitting down here listening to you guys in there chatting away and laughing and joking, have you ever thought about a a stage show with you guys on the stage doing the spoken word thing, the talking, the reminiscing, looking at old stories.
It has been mentioned to us a bit, but
Well, you're going to be doing a bit of that on the quiet nights in, aren't you?
Yes, a bit like the Goons.
I don't know. We might.
You're doing
we
a
might
bit of
not.
that.
It all depends what we feel like, and if we're actually able to converse properly.
Able to.
Could be like.
Yeah, we're doing these like other smaller shows around the other on the way to other shows. So we're doing these slightly different set, and one or two of the other gigs are Bridport, and Stanford.
Yeah, little theatres.
So yeah, you'll hear a slightly different set, and yes, maybe Dave will tell some stories
I
about
would have
his
thought there
wonderful
was going to
life.
be some stories, yeah.
A bit just like the Goons.
Yeah, it's a big Goon show.
What can you say? Never a dull moment with Hawkwind. The album is out this week and available to order now, and go to the website at hawkwind.com for full details of all of the upcoming live dates. And that is it then for now. Don't forget to head over to the website at the rockandbluesexperience.com to catch up with all of the recent content, video and audio. And we're going to be back with that full feature with Steve Prestel. That is coming out next at the back end of this week. In the meantime, Hawkwind are going to be playing us out here with another track from the album. It is called Long, Long Way From Home. Until next time, from me, Tim Cable, bye-bye for now.